Hello, back with the disease. Or in the last video, I don't know why I started off doing this. I think I was just had a screwdriver in my hand and was bored, but I thought I'd give it a poke. Basically, I've been putting my ruined screwdriver in here and just flexing it, and now I have pretty much got the right gap and the door doesn't hit the wing anymore. So that's a result. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I will devise a plan, but it'll probably involve welding that wing on and finishing the bottom of that wing. Then I'll push it outside and do lots of grinding. Again, I'm never sure what to record, what to show and what not. Most of my videos, I think pretty much all of them, unless I've been in a mad hurry, have been trying to show everything that I do. And so I'm going to bore you again with this bit. So this was the area that I was having trouble with. It had sort of bellied out there. I tucked it in. That made that bit a bit long. So now I've welded in there. Of these two holes, they're just filling in where I'd put plug weld holes. Stitch in there, plug weld, plug weld, plug weld. That looks okay. It's a bit dished there where I've had to wallop it up, so I'll have to put some filler in, annoyingly. But other than that, this whole wing is welded on, with the exception of down in here where I have, oh well, no I did, yeah, I've welded two in there. Just gonna tack along there now. I'll run a little stitch just to put that inner wing onto the inner part of the wheel arch. And then this side is totally done. I might also put a tiny stitch along there. It shouldn't, and it didn't from factory, but I do it anyway. Same on that side. It just, you know, if that ever rattled loose and popped, it wouldn't sort of spring away here. It's probably overkill, but you know, it tidies it up a bit as well, stops water getting in there. So get the drill, clean that off, clean all down there, stitch in there, stitch across there, same the other side, weld that wing on. Don't seem to have the same problem this side. It worked out nicely, so when that is pushed up, that fits all good and it's not baggy and horrible. So that is what I shall do, and I will then wheel outside, grind off all the welds, and the wings will be ticked off. All the welding on the front of the car is now done, and I've pushed it outside because I was going to do grinding and grind the welds down, but can't be bothered, and the light is fading, and I figured if I grind it down, then I'll have to protect it with something. And there's no point in mixing up a load of epoxy, because I want to do epoxy when I do big bits all together, because it's expensive. This wing again had the same trouble as I did on the other side. So like I did on the other side, had to unfold the bottom of the lip of the wing, then weld it on, and now I've got a nice line, so I'm happy with that. Possibly a bit low, but it fits with the door and it fits with the top, so short of moving the whole inner lip up, it was never going to happen. So I'm pretty happy. It's better than some of them came out of the factory, so that's all good. And because I can't be bothered to do grinding now, thought I'd do an initial investigate of this area. So I'm going to use a strip and clean disc to take the paint off the sill and the bottom of that wing and this area without damaging what metal I've got. I think there's more filler in here than I anticipated, which will be annoying, but that's what I'm going to do, and we shall see what the result is. Right, that escalated quite quickly. The strip and clean disc was very helpful in gently removing paint and filler without metal. So here I can see there's a pocket of rust that somebody gobbed over with filler, so that's going to have to be sorted. At this stage, I don't know whether I can just, you know, get a die grinder in there, grind it away. It's not really structural, so that might stay. That's such an important body line that it needs to be kept. What will change my opinion is if I get to the back side of it and see rust there, but it hasn't come through from the back side, so I think it's all good. bottom of this I just chopped off. You can see the top of the sill behind. Ignore that sealer, that is just old cavity wax and sealer and stuff. The metal there is good. This front piece has to be picked off. That will probably be picked off as well. The sill there has gone at the top, which means the bit under there's probably gone too. So I'll probably put a saw straight through, straight along there, get all of that out. There's quite a lot of rust, pitting rust, not on the top of the doorstep, but in that return there. And again, pocket rust here that's been filled over. So really, I need to cut along there, all the way under the B pillar and replace that whole section all the way through. All of that is fine. And then underneath we have, obviously the rear end is now missing because it's gone, and a slot along there that needs to be repaired. So inner sill wise is actually really good. Normal repair to the back end, but that's, you know, normal on these and to be expected. But what's great is the rust never got as high as the trailing arm point mounts. So all of this is very thick, very solid metal, which is fantastic news. So I'm not going to do any more today because I've got other stuff to do, but in my head, my brain will be ticking over about how to go about repairing this. It's Saturday morning, it's 11 o'clock. I had intended to get up earlier and crack on with this right at the start of the day, but work from last week has ruined me, so I'm very tired, and that is hampering my efforts to get down here and get stuck in. This weekend I want to get as much of the car finished as possible, ideally all of the metal work, because I want to take it to the body shop ASAP, because Dave and Mike have agreed to do it at Midland Performance and Retro, but I had actually hoped to get it up there a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't, so I need to really pull my finger out, crack on with this, get it done. Sometimes you just have to get stuck in. I've chopped out quite a lot in one big hit actually, which will help me when I come to template off the other sill to get it in there. I'm going to treat this as two primary repairs, one to there, ignoring everything forward of it, deal with it afterwards, get all this done, make sure it shuts nice with the door. Oh bollocks, I've done it again. Basically that lock's goosed, and every time I close it I have to climb into the sides of the car from the other side and then use a screwdriver to open it, which is really annoying. I should have just taken the striker off. Anyway, you can now see a bit better. That's the remains of the old outer sill. That all needs to be picked off. I'm really pleased. These are the two captive threads for the trailing arm, which locates the outboard ends of the axle fore and aft. They are fixed, and they are a pain to repair because you've got that's the rear end of the inner sill. This whole piece that you can see at the back there behind that plate is part of the actual rear chassis rail that runs right through to the back of the car. That is all one big piece, and then this is like a load distribution plate or something, which is very thick. And basically to rebuild all of that is a pain in the arse. You can just chop it off, weld a massive plate with some captive nuts, but if you do it properly and you pick all of that off to shape that metal nicely, is a bitch, because I've done it before on a proper resto, and it was an arse. Anyway, less chuntering about that. We've got to rebuild the bottom part of that. That's easy because that's nice big thick chunky steel. The rear sill actually comes out to about here and is just hanging in free air, and what would normally happen is the inner wheel lip would have come all the way down and then sat into it. So I'll have to replicate that, and then that is just like a closing panel and you kind of don't really see it, so that doesn't matter. So I need to pick off the remainder of the outer sill along here. I've just cut slots, and then I'll go along. I might need to cut the slot slightly deeper, but basically peel these off. Because that inner sill and that plate is so thick, that is not going to need any welding. It will just need rubbing down, zinc painting, and then off we go. So no repairs needed along there, just that rear end, which can be done after the sill is on. Up here, I'm happy with that bit of metal. I was a bit worried that there was pitting corrosion, but I've sanded through it and it's fine. It's all from the outside in rather than the inside out, which is excellent. Nothing in the bottom of there, even underneath there, that all cleaned off nicely. So there's just a bit in there which you now can't see because I put the thing in the way, but basically I am just going to crack on with it, and I'll show you the individual stages, but I probably won't even show you me welding it because I just need to get it done. Bye. Oh, fuck me. That's the end of that grinder. It did well. I think it's only an Audi special, but literally the amount of smoke that just came out of that, pretty appalling. Oh, oh, fuck it up. That is bad. That was some seriously acrid, nasty smoke. I'm gonna have to have a bit of a clean up, but I've done the majority of the trimming. Need to sand a little bit more off there. What I'm going to do is probably join in there. I found some more rust in the section here where that came down. It had just trapped water between the two and rusted. This bit is actually really good, but because it's included in the sill, I might as well swap it. This bit that I was really happy with, I have found some more rust in there, so that's going to have to go. This return is just the outer edge, so I'm going to cut a slot through there, pick that off. What killed the grinder was trying to cut through this, because it looked frilly and I thought, oh, I better replace it while I'm here. But it's really thick, tough metal, and the grinder didn't like it. So, but the plan is just cut a little rectangle, put a piece of 1.5 mil in there, or 1.2. Nothing complicated, and then the sill go on top. This whole area I will rebuild once I've got the sill on, and that might sound dumb, but from memory the sill doesn't actually, you know, this does cut an end short, so I might just nip that bit off, and then I can just put a nice plate in there. Once it's under sealed you won't see it, then build the closing panel and then rebuild that bit, and then the bottom of that bit, and then that bit, and then down there and wherever else I need to do. So still a lot of work to do on this thing. I've also noticed this, despite being a Series 2 car, has the remains of a Series 1 door on it. So I have found evidence of previous repairs. A bit of this had been welded previously as well. So, and the fact that there's filler along this sill means that this car did have paint at some point, which is odd because the guy told me that, you know, it had just sat around for ages not been loved, where I think early on in its life it did get a full respray. I'm still doing too much talking. I will find another grinder and then carry on. Every time I go into Aldi or Lidl, I just buy another grinder. If they've got them there for like 18-20 quid. They also sell the shit dangerous grinding discs, but if you've got face protection, I guess they're okay. They don't last long, but they do the job for somebody like me. This one, ooh, it's got variable speed, and hopefully, that's good. It has a guard to take the 125 discs. Right, excellent. Right, I've had a bit of a sweep up, and yet again I've changed my plan. This bit up here, it occurred to me, oh, incidentally, my lunch today, pint of tea, poppadom. My clever idea here isn't going to work because once the sill is on there, I'm not going to be able to get in to weld underneath on there unless through that little access point there. So all of that's good metal, so I'm just going to leave it. I've chopped a bit more out of here, and I've lost that corner where the rust was, so I can now weld in from here. So that'll make that much nicer. So what I'm going to do first, if I can find what I've done with it, that is my little patch repair that's going to go in there. Fine. rub that down. That'd be good. That is an offcut from the old sill. So as I did with the previous sill repair, that'll be tacked on in there or in the same place on the repair panel. And then I can weld through without risking blowing big holes or just having like hedgehogs on the inside, which is like a kernel for us to start from. I might also put a little step in there and along there. I probably won't bother here because that will all be super strong once this comes back on. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the next time you see this, it will probably look all red oxided, and I'll have the outer sill thing trimmed up and ready to go on. Well, next time isn't that. Next time is me informing you, don't put a papadom on a pint of tea because it makes it all floppy. No one likes not to be a man of their word, but I keep finding myself changing my plan, as you frequently will end up doing these sorts of things. Put a bit in there. I thought, fuck it, I'll chop that a bit off, weld that in. I know that that is the length I need, which is fine. Then I thought, well, while I've got access, why don't I rebuild this bit? I can't quite remember the shape, and the other side I haven't finished either. So I'm going to go try and see if I've got a wing, take a cardboard template off that, and then I can chop a bit of steel, bosh it in there, weld it on before the next bit. Right, got football on. We're really cooking on gas here. And that is all in. I'm going to red oxide it, as I said I would a while ago, and then can get back on with prepping the panel. Done my first sectioning of the rear end of my spare sill. I haven't even got a clamp in there, and that's just wedged in. I can get access to all of that bit. This little strip I could actually weld from inside the car through an inspection hole that is there. That is all easy. That is all easy. I just need to make sure that bit's perfect. Make sure this will probably fall off now. I can't shut the door because I haven't finished fixing that lock. But that is the key body line, obviously. So needs to be constant horizontal line, obviously, to the door. But we are getting there, so hopefully I can get that tacked on soon, weld it on, and then I'll go for my lunch. So quite a lot of progress already this morning. In my quest for finding other bits and pieces, I found a bit I'd chopped off, or somebody else had chopped off, or in a wing here. So that should be easy to replicate. Even if I don't use it, I can copy it for a patch, and then another closing panel in there, and that's done. Then I just need to fabricate that bit, that bit, that bit. Fix that, fix a hole there. Yeah, still quite a lot to do, isn't there? All of this just takes so long. Put my holes in there for plug welding, holes along the bottom for plug welding. Now I'm tacking strips on to here so that I can weld through with a lot of heat without blowing big holes and creating little porcupines or pineapples or, you know, hedgehogs, spiky things on the back, basically. So on with Mr. Welder, and then I'll paint it red and go and get some lunch. Right, I've had my lunch. That's that panel with little bits tacked on, and I've just done a bit of weld through primering in a couple of places as well, that top edge. And now it's time to offer things up and make sure it's in the right place before I start welding. So that's going to go something like that. Might be a two-handed job. Usual endeavour. Yeah, something like that. So I'm going to clamp it up and then go and get a straight edge and try and get all that to line up along the sill properly. It's not bad, but we need it perfect, don't we? Right. Oh, there we go. That's better. Huh. That's looking pretty good. So you can see, maybe I've cut it a bit short, but you can do some fettling and adjusting. I have got it somewhere close. That lines up very nicely. So I'm gonna, well, the key parts are that bit, and then the whole angle, and then the overall length. So we're looking pretty good. So I'll concentrate on these bits first, Then afterwards I'll clamp the lower lip up and drive it up to meet. But looking pretty promising, so I'll probably do the usual of tack it where it looks like it fits and then fill it in afterwards. And incidentally, I've got a nice deep trough in here, so I could really put a nice seam in there, weld it all nicely, linish it smooth, and know I've got a big chunk of weld in there, and it will be nice and solid. Over here, that all looks nice too. Got my little bit I know I need to put in there, and then my infill panel for there, and then I'll just need to make up a closing piece in there. I've got good access, and all in all, this will, fingers crossed, should come out as quite a nice job. Then I just need to get around to this bit, and then the sill should be done. What I should have done is did what I did with the front wings, which was the right reference measurements between the door and the sill. I forgot to do that, and now I'm not worried, but it would be nice to know 100% that that was arrow straight and the same as it always was. I've got, where have I got? I've got this, which is, you know, fairly straight, and when I run that along, it's perfect, but I don't have anything that really picks up on that sort of angle. Kind of almost need a laser. Still got some freedom of movement to move this up and down, like a millimetre or so. That's the advantage of concentrating on the top edge, and then I can move this up and down, then weld the bottom one. But I'm just gonna have to go and find a piece. I might have a piece of aluminium that I can use, but I just want to be cock sure that's perfect before I weld it in. I took that out in the end because it was annoying me so much, and I've just got one good tack in there, a couple along here to hold it in place. Well, I was hoping to show you welding with the GoPro, but once again the battery, despite it being about, I don't know, 10 degrees today, has decided it wants to quit. In the end, I kind of eyeballed it. I did find that long straight edge and I am pretty happy with it. But you never really know till you put the new doors on. It might be that, I mean, that hasn't moved. That's can't go forwards and backwards, and yet it looks tight there. But this door has got quite a lot of filler on it, I think. Well, a bit of filler, but I think the bottom part of this has had quite a lot of action. Yeah, no, it's just filler. So, no, that should be all right. So what have I done? I've thrown a few more big heavy tacks in there with the welder cranked right up. Need to push this bit up, and then I can start working my way along that bottom seam. Mr. Jack to the rescue. We have a very nice arch shape, sorry, sill shape there. Everything lines up, so I'm going to snot it where it meets at the sill there, and a couple of plug weld holes. Move the jack to here, double check, weld, 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 should be good. Well, this is going swimmingly. That is all in and joined in the right places. We have a big plug weld on there, another one there, and I threw some fairly heavy tacks and joined them together in here. And they're actually sitting in that trough thing, so now I can just go weld the whole lot in. Well, that is on there. They ain't gonna move now. Got some plug welds along there, seam along there, all the way along there. Obviously none of this has been ground back yet. This worked particularly well, so I filled in that tray, that trough, all the way along, plug welds along the bottom, and yeah, that's about it. I haven't tied that together yet because I want some freedom of movement so that I can just double check the door again, get that gap right. It looks pretty good. So I'm happy. I'm gonna grind out some welds and then see what it looks like. Righty-ho. That is in. Everything is nice and smooth. I could really go to our town, but I can't be bothered. That is, well, very nice shape. It will still need a tiny bit of fill-up. I could go and weld in those things, but there's literally no point. I know there's more than enough strength there, so it's just a waste of time and MIG wire. That's rubbed down. That needs to be flat because this closing panel gets plug welded onto it. That's plug welded and sanded smooth, so I now need to make, well, the first bit to make would be that bit, then that bit, then that bit, and then finally that bit. But I'm really tired again, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do any more welding today, but I might take my strip and clean disc, sand all of that paint off, get it nice and clean, and then put some Bonder primer on it just to protect it. All cleaned off, back to bare metal. Yeah, put some Bonder primer on it, keep it safe overnight. Yeah, tell you what, just brushing that on was so satisfying to do. I'm really happy with that. I think the lines all look really good. Probably wouldn't even need any filler. Once the epoxy's on and the stone chip, you probably wouldn't even see that. So that has been the most productive day, and it is Saturday, so I'm now going to go up the shops and get some stuff for tea and cook for dinner. Have a good Saturday night, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get all of this bit finished. I'll repair that bit, grind all of this side down, and investigate the floor and maybe do that too. Right, see you later.